In the stock market, Trinidad is up while Jamaica and Barbados are down. Abby and I discuss stocks, Belizean Creative Designer shares his entrepreneurial journey of craftsmanship, and John Marsden from the Belize City Defenders talk sports. I'm Destiny Wagner, and this is Legacy Markets. Good night and welcome to Legacy Markets. I'm Destiny Wagner, your host for the newest source for intelligent and unbiased coverage of money, business, and the economy at home and in the Caribbean region. Here to give you the weekly business headlines and the latest news on the Caribbean stock markets is analyst and co-host Abby, who is standing in for Rafia Flowers.
Thanks, Destiny. In stock news today, the Jamaica Stock Exchange experienced a 1% decline from the previous trading week. The top winners were Eppley Limited preference shares up by 15% and Key Insurance Company Limited up by 12%. The losers were MPC Caribbean Clean Energy Limited down by 25% and Mayberry Group Limited down by 13%. In Jamaica's headlines, following reports of fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited earlier last year, it has been reported that Usain Bolt has not received anything from assets dispersed or assigned to date. Usain Bolt's company in October 2022 is estimated to have fallen from 2 billion Jamaican dollars or 12.7 million US dollars to 1.8 million Jamaican dollars to or 12,000 US dollars in January 2023 as a result of fraud. The Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange slightly increased by 1% from the previous trading week. The top two winners were National Flour Mills Limited up by 5% and NCB Financial Group Limited up by 3%. The top two losers were JMMB Group Limited down by 3% and Trinidad and Tobago NGL Limited down by 66 basis points. In their headlines, contractors in Tobago are experiencing a surge in construction costs following a recent hike in retail cement prices by about $8 to $10 Trinidadian dollars per bag. Vice President of the Tobago Division of Trinidad and Tobago's Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Demijan Cruikshank, highlights the ripple effect with projected construction costs rising by hundreds of thousands of dollars, signaling challenges for TNT's building sector. And in Barbados, the stock exchange declined by 34 basis points since its previous trading week. No stock advanced, but one stock declined, and that was Emera Deposit Receipt, which was down by 3%. In keeping with the Motley administration's efforts to lower the cost of living, the Barbados Port Incorporated has lowered port charges by 7.5% following a 10% decline earlier last year. President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, James Clark, has warned that consumers should not expect a guaranteed reduction in the price of goods. And in Belize, this week, the Mexican dollar appreciated against the Belize dollar by 3 centavos. The Quetzal appreciated by less than 1 centavo against the Belize dollar. And the euro appreciated against the Belize dollar by less than 1 cent. But looking at our domestic bank rates as of December 2023, lending rates stood at 8.4%, a decline by 2 basis points from a year ago. Term deposits remained at 2%, as well as deposits which declined by 4 basis points to fall at 1.2%. On the other hand, mortgage rates increased by 22 basis points to stand at 7%. Excess cash as of February 14, 2024 stood at $454 million, a decline by 60 basis points from the previous week. Meanwhile, excess liquidity rose by 1.8% to stand at 790 million Belize dollars. And that's it for business headlines. When we return, we will share the wealth word of the day, stocks. Don't go away.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen, the hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on Legacy Markets. This show is centered on the finance and the economy, and tonight we'll be shifting things up a bit with a discussion on the wealth word of the day with Legacy's analyst, Abby. Abby, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So the wealth word of the day is stocks. Can you please tell us what stocks are?
So stocks, if I could describe it in two words, it would be forever ownership. So stocks, it's just a fractional ownership in a company. So if I could try and break it down into an example, I would say, for example, let's say we're at a party and the company is an entire birthday cake. When you buy a stock, you're actually buying a part of that company. So in other words, you're purchasing a slice of that cake. And so by you owning a slice of that cake or owning a small portion of that company, that slice is what we refer to as the stock or the share.
Okay, so that's a delicious analogy, if I may add. So just to reiterate for our viewers, so owning stock means that you are partial owner of the company, and the more stocks you have, the more of the company you own.
Exactly. So your amount of ownership depends on how many stocks or how many slices of the cake you have. So the bigger the slice you have, the more ownership you have in that company.
So what kind of stocks are there?
There's various different stocks, but the two main ones would be common stock and preferred stock. Now with common stock, this is typically where you have persons who have common stock. They're able to vote in shareholder meetings, and they also have the chance to earn dividends. Now, if you're a preferred stockholder, meaning you have preferred stock, you don't have any rights to vote at those shareholder meetings, but you do earn a fixed dividend every year.
Okay, can you kindly explain to our viewers what a dividend is? To me, it sounds like money and payment, so can you just give us more information on that?
Yeah, so you're actually right, thinking that it's monies and what you receive, because dividends is just the monies that is paid out of the company's profit to the shareholders or to the stockholder. And so if you want to think about it, it's like a stockholder's reward for owning a piece of that company or a piece of that slice of the cake.
And you only get dividends when the company is profiting.
Yes. Well, if you're a common stockholder, then you would receive the dividends when the company earns a profit.
So are there any stocks that we can purchase here in Belize?
We do have a few options here locally in Belize. I typically like to consider these our blue chip companies. And so there's the Belize Electricity Limited. They have their own stocks. Belize Water Services Limited and Belize Telemedia Limited.
And what is the price? Like, how much would it cost the average person to buy this? Is the price the same for everyone across the board, or is there a different price?
So if you're looking at just the par value, because the par value is what the company had issued it at, what the price was initially. It's different than the market price, but looking at just the par value, the Belize Electricity Limited stocks are, you can buy it at about $2 per share. If you want Belize Water Services Limited's stocks, you would have to buy it at $1.50 per share. And if you wanted to purchase Belize Telemedia Limited stock, it would be $5 per share. And all of those are in Belize dollars.
Since these are investments or the stocks and they don't mature, how would one be able to cash in besides earning dividends?
So at least here in Belize, we don't necessarily have what we would, because typically if you wanted to cash it out, you would have to sell it on a stock exchange. Belize, we don't have that, so it's more like if I know you have the stock, I could just talk to you and try to purchase it. But we don't have it as advanced as across in the US or the other areas that have the stock exchange. And a stock exchange is just basically an area or a location where individuals or investors could buy and sell their stocks.
Okay, since we do not have a stock exchange, and you say if you know someone who has a stock, who would typically have the stock? Would we have to contact one of the shareholders, the CEOs, or just perhaps my neighbor has stock? Like, how would we go about?
We can connect you with a seller in which you can then buy it, or if you want to sell it, then we could connect you with a buyer. Yeah.
Well, that is valuable information for our viewers, especially in Belize. But let's talk more about the international scene. What are some stocks that are blooming outside of Belize, specifically in the USA?
So internationally, in the international scene, I'm pretty sure everyone has heard about Tesla and Apple. They have their own stocks, and those stocks have definitely brought them or made them more valuable through that issuance. So it's definitely grown over time. Their price per share has grown over time. And definitely if you're an investor in stocks, you can see how by the share price growing over time, you're actually becoming much more wealthier.
You mentioned reselling the stocks. Who are you reselling the stocks to?
You would be reselling it to buyers. So when you go on the stock exchange, you can then go ahead and sell your stock, and then whoever is interested in buying the stock would see that it's now listed on the exchange. I mentioned that in Belize we don't have, but in the Caribbean there are some options. We've even talked about it in the show, there's the Barbados Stock Exchange, the Jamaica, Trinidad, but Jamaica is the stock exchange that is more successful than the others in Caribbean. I think in 2015, they were actually recognized by Bloomberg as one of the strongest stock markets.
That is amazing. And Abby, it is crucial to remind our viewers that while trading in stocks can have a lot of benefits, financial benefits, it can also have some risk as well. So if you can go give us a bit of example about some of the risk when it comes to stocks and trading.
Yeah, so definitely trying to manage your risk is very important also. An example I could think about now would probably be that, there's the possibility of that share, instead of it growing in its size, because remember I told you that with Tesla, it could actually go the other way around. So, Elon Musk, sometimes he can say some outrageous things. And so let's say that causes a bad reputation for the company, and so now people start to want to pull out, and that leaves their share price to fall. So then now there's this point where you bought it at $17 US, and now it's only worth $5.
So it's definitely important for potential investors to do their research on the stock market before purchasing.
Exactly, and do your research on the company as well.
Well, Abigail, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with us and our viewers on what stocks are. We definitely appreciate having you here today with us.
Thank you too.
When we return, we'll have some exciting conversations with the Belizean Creative Designer on his entrepreneurial journey.
Welcome to City Pulse by your Belize City Council. Join us on an exciting journey through the heart of Belize City, where we showcase the transformative initiatives shaping our resilient community. Our commitment to the people is unwavering, and our city's progress is built on solid foundations. At the beginning of this year, we pledged to rehabilitate 90 streets. Proudly, we've completed 71 streets, or 36,431 linear feet, which accounts for an impressive 78% of our commitment. The Council has made significant progress. Among these, 23 have been concreted, 26 have undergone rehabilitation using the chip and seal method, and an additional 22 streets have been further enhanced, being filled or topped up with materials such as hardcore or all-in, demonstrating our commitment to improving our city's infrastructure. But we're not stopping there. We've identified 41 more streets that need our attention. We are projected to meet 100% of our 90-street commitment 2 months ahead of schedule, accounting for an unprecedented 54,829 plus linear feet of road rehabilitation completed within the last 10 months. This transformation is fueled by a $6.9 million budget allocation, with 59% coming from municipal papers, 41% from the Council's operations, and support from our valued partners. Stay connected with City Pulse and witness the journey of a brighter, more connected Belize City. We're committed to your future. This People's United Party City Council is always about the people.
And thank you for tuning in to the Legacy Business Show. This program segment will showcase a Belizean entrepreneur making significant waves in the Belizean economy each week. In this week's segment, we highlight creative owner and designer unveiling a rich array of handmade craftsmanship that embodies sustainable and environmentally friendly products. Joining us in studio is Mr. Emilio Perera, creative consultant, designer, artisan, and founder of Studio Perera and Balix Creative Limited, who shares his inspiring journey and innovative offerings as a remarkable entrepreneur. Welcome, Mr. Perera, and thank you so much for joining us here in studio today. So we do have some lovely bags here on display. So can you tell us a bit more, though, about your entrepreneurship journey? Did you always start with bags, or was it furniture? Like, how did you get into this industry?
Well, that's a very long story. I'll try to make it short. I'd like to say that it found me, really. It all started in Guatemala. I went to Guatemala to study civil engineering, and my paths crossed with the creative community and the industry there in Guatemala. Even more so when I moved to Antigua. That's where the birth and the inspiration for craftsmanship and just the beauty of colors and the different things that was going around, the different movements that was happening at the time in Antigua as well. All the influences from Europe, the Central America, all in that one hub, through the lifestyle goods, in the restaurants, in the cafes, the music, everything, just creating a vibe, creating an atmosphere, and I was drawn to that. And little by little I was questioning, how could I be a part of this, And I ended up working for a company, Vera Voga, and I was learning skills to be the artisan, the head artisan there. And I was traveling around Guatemala, meeting with all the artisans, the logistics of material sourcing, working with the artisans, making sure that you have quality control. And little by little, I decided to start my own brand on the side, as a hobby, making men's wallets, boots, shoes, and it just went on from there.
And you started this when you were in Guatemala, or did you start this when you were in Belize, making the wallets on the side?
It wasn't anything official. I was doing because I was working for Vera Voga, and on the side I was doing my a side hustle with the wallets and things. And most of my products came to Belize. Again, it was just through
a full circle.
It was just through Facebook, and I would post a wallet, and yeah, it wasn't I didn't have any experiences in business. It was just something to generate some more income. And then it just blew. Again, social media was just starting. This was 2014. Social media was just starting, and I didn't realize the potential of social media at the time, to connect. So it's someone shares a picture, and then boom, and I was okay, so a business is here.
Yeah. So at what point did you decide to move back to Belize?
Well, I didn't decide really. Like, it was just a lot of things going on. I was in Guatemala for a very long time. I lived 5 years in Antigua, and then I moved to Lake Atitlan for a while, and that's where my journey for like the sustainability came from, working with the artisans and working with an NGO there at the time, working with production methods and means for the communities and sustainable means. And it was in crafts. Like in Guatemala, there's like a village that works at wood, another village that works in metal work, another one in painting, in pottery, and so like that broadened my entire like outlook on craftsmanship.
So you mentioned you started with wallets on the side. How did you transition, or did you notice that there was a demand for more products?
Yeah, it was like I realized I could do a little bit of everything. You know, and so I was questioning, like I did, like painting, sculpture. I tried a lot of different things, and it was like a lot of trial and errors to see what worked. And so I started making. Emilio started off as a men's line because I made things that I liked, and I needed belts, shoes, wallets, all of this, and it picked up. But the problem was I was guaranteeing like products that are made to last. So like, a guy would come and buy a wallet and I won't see him until it bursts, but like it's guaranteed that it won't. So like I had to shift the business model
okay.
Because the woman would come and say like, could I buy a wallet for my husband, but do you make bags? And like little by little, it just transitioned there, and then I made a green one and a red, and it just developed into something more sustainable for me.
Well, on behalf of all the women in Belize, and I'm sure your other women customers as well, thank you for catering to us, because your bags are definitely a hit. Almost everywhere I go, I see someone wearing an original Emilio Perera bag. So congratulations to you. I do want to touch base, though, on the studio. The studio and Balix Creative Limited. Can you tell us the connection with those two?
When I moved to Belize, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. So Balix is said to be the original name of Belize, where it stems from, and it means muddy water in the Maya, and creative. So it's just like, in Belize, the creative industry is not as strong as in other places. It could be way stronger. And I saw it like, how do you say, like, we're known as a swampland, but like we don't realize like the beauty that's in the swamp. There's a lot of things going on. And so I was like, if you could take something that's very like mundane and make it beautiful, that was like my goal. I didn't know how I would do it, either through food or arts or crafts. I just made Balix Creative Limited, and that's where Studio Perera was born, because then I just transitioned like all that I learned through the craftsmanship and leather work here in Belize. But right after, like I moved back in Belize a year before the pandemic happened. So when the pandemic hit, it was more like an alert, like because I couldn't bring in my leather work, because I was a leather artisan. That's my craft. So I had to find new ways of being more innovative with materials, and during that year of the pandemic, I traveled through Belize and like talking to artisans and making a note of what's possible, to just have a library of opportunities and possibilities.
That leads me to our next question. You mentioned sustainability a lot, so I definitely want to know more about the sustainable practices that your brand is using. I recognize a lot of the materials, as I'm sure other Belizeans recognize as well, but we want to hear from you, like, what are the sustainable practices that you're doing? Where are you sourcing your materials from, and what communities are benefiting? Okay,
well, it's from all over. So we have, for example, this bag. This is...
My birthday is next week, guys, by the way.
This one is made from Jipijapa. Jipijapa is a fiber, very local, native to Belize, and it's worked by the women in southern Belize. When I did my travels, I learned that it's a dying art form, because for such a meticulous process to just make coasters and like stuff, the turnover for them, it didn't make sense. So like looking at that, I was like, we had to like uplift the craft into something that's more sustainable and beneficial, and to show the beauty and highlight the beauty of the work. So that's where this collection stems from. Then during the pandemic as well, I was looking for other resources, and I went to the market, Finnegan Market, and there's a lady there that makes jewelry from coconuts. And so I'd go there constantly and talk to her, and just get a feel of the market and market life, and eventually it developed into her making these coconut rings for me. I didn't know why, but I told her, give me 50, just to help her, and I'll figure it out. And one night it just sparked, and I started connecting things together. And most of these designs really, it's not like I have it in mind. I have the material, and then it tells me what it could be.
That is amazing. And I think a lot of creatives, they do it based off of emotion. It's not something that's planned. It's always something that comes to them in that moment. And I love the fact that you are being sustainable with your practices, but in a way you're also preserving tradition. This is a skill. This is something that was taught from generations to generations. And as we continue to grow and progress as a nation, it's so important that we stay deep rooted into our culture and our history. So on that note, we want to talk about different collaborations. You mentioned that you collaborated with the woman selling jewelry from coconuts. Is there any other collaborations with other businesses or other craftsmen that you can tell us about?
Sure. During the pandemic, there's a burst of innovation throughout Belize. And one company in particular that I was very excited was Belize Banana Fibers from Unitedville. So we communicated, and I went to do a site visit, and I met with the artisans and realized the potential of this, not just with the bags, but with lifestyle brands. So I worked closely with them, and I did consulting where we spoke about designs like chandeliers, furniture, and all of this, because at the time it was 15 women, and now they've grown to more than 50.
Wow.
And all these women stem across the rural Kaya. And I work closely with Miss Adelmira, and she's located, this village is off the beat from Benke, I forget, Arenal. Arenal. And so I got excited because again, it stems along with the circular economy and the promoting the handmade. And it's beautiful because once a banana gives fruit, it doesn't give fruit anymore, and they cut the banana and they would throw away the banana. So the stems of the banana, they found use for it. So they would grind the stalks, and the fiber would then be boiled. You boil it, and then you hang it to dry in the sun. And from there, they just started making these ropes, and then they elaborated the basket. So the whole process takes about 3 weeks to make this one.
Wow. That is incredible, and I am learning something new because this is all new to me when it comes to bags and designing and the process of it all, but you know that I am an advocate for all things sustainable, so I'm very happy that you are continuing to grow your brand and also be environmentally conscious. With that being said, we know that your process has, well, like every entrepreneur, there's ups and there's downs, so what are some of the conflicts that you've had or obstacles that you've had to face when launching your brand or expanding it? Because you mentioned furniture now as well.
Well, I started Balix Creative with nothing in mind, like the direction, but knowing that it was the creative, I wanted to be involved in the creative industry. So with that said, Studio Perera is now expanding beyond bags and is more of a lifestyle brand. And with more, I would like to get into food, the entertainment, everything, creating everything but locally made and locally. I've been to many restaurants, cafes, and they incorporate local as best as, you're sitting down in a chair made locally, and the plate made locally, and lights made, everything it's done from the community. And so I hope and I wish and I see Belize being that.
So what have some key learning moments been throughout your entrepreneurship journey?
So when I came back to Belize, well, again, anyone that pursues the creative industry is not taken serious, yes? And so I had a hard time, I wouldn't say support, but like it's just like a lot of questions like, oh, it's a hobby, but where like you need a real job and like so, yeah. So it's like once you're not like an engineer, a doctor,
or traditional job,
traditional
let's say.
jobs,
Yeah.
yes, like it's not, yeah. So one of the things I had to do is just like how I communicate with myself, the things I told myself, and just like the vision. Like I tied myself to the vision that I had, and like I could not be moved.
Exactly, and it really comes down to your mentality as well and your mindset. So unfortunately, we are running out of time, but do you have any final words for our viewers?
Well, I have words for it, because there's a lot of creative entrepreneurs that has reached out, and they've been asking like, how do you do this? And like so I just want to say again, like tie yourself to a vision, whatever it is, music, sports, anything, and beat at your craft, beat at your skill until you could perfect it. And that's
that is amazing advice. Emilio, thank you for being in studio with us here today. Your story is definitely inspiring, and we want to congratulate you and wish you the best on all your entrepreneurship endeavors.
Thank you, guys.
Stay tuned, as after the break, Abby will be joining us to explore the business of sports with Mr. John Marsden. Don't go away.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen. The hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Are you interested in diversifying your investment portfolio while maintaining a low-risk profile? Are you the smart, sophisticated investor that is seeking greater interest return on your investments while investing in your city? If you are, then you should invest in the Belize City Council's municipal securities. The Belize City Council offers both short and long-term securities that are attractive financial market options, which provides the investor with greater social added value satisfaction. You ask why? Because your investment in the securities are reinvested back into the growth and development of your city by way of infrastructural development, streets and drainage construction, parks, playgrounds, bridge rehabilitation, and much, much more. Let's look at the key features of municipal securities. First, they are tax-free. This means more of your money stays with you. You will enjoy greater interest yield without any tax deductions. Second, our interest rates of 4.5% on municipal papers and 8% on municipal bonds easily surpasses current financial institutions' interest rates on savings. Municipal securities are also a great investment in your retirement. The faster your money grows, the faster you reach your retirement fund goals. The municipal paper and the municipal bond are both tradable and transferable investments. This means that investors can get their money back before the maturity date by selling their securities to a third party. Lastly, investing in municipal papers offers investors a steady stream of income. You will receive your full interest earned on a quarterly basis until the maturity of the paper. To learn more about the Belize City Council's municipal securities and how you can invest in your city, Call our financial advisor, Alpha Capital LLP, at 822-1794. Email at securitiestrade1@alphacapital.bz or give us a call at 227-3073. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
Welcome back. In today's sports news, we are joined by the marketing director for the Belize City Defenders basketball team, Mr. John Marsden. Welcome, Mr. Marsden.
Welcome, thank you.
First of all, before we get into this segment, I know you're a major contributor, to marketing and the events in Belize. But could you tell us how you became a part of the Belize Defenders?
In 2017, we've been doing concerts, the guy Renaldo Malik. He was approached by then owner of the Belize City No Limits. He was kind of tired of doing the sporting thing alone, and he felt that it was time for him to get out. So he approached Malik, asking him if he had interest in purchasing a team. Then Ronaldo then brought it to myself, Jacob Leslie, and Darwin Leslie. And it didn't take us much consideration. I mean, we're all lovers of basketball. Mm-hmm. It took us probably about 15 minutes to decide that yes, we would purchase a team from David. And that's basically how I got involved with the start of it.
Okay. Could you discuss a bit about the team's strategy to be profitable this season?
First of all, no matter what we're doing, if we're not winning, people don't come. So that is strategy number one, priority number one, win. We feel the best team that will be able to compete with other teams, and basically that's our main goal, to have a good team that's going to win. Secondly, we are focusing this year on giving fans an experience, not just coming to a basketball game, but we added 2 new big screens in the Civic Center. We added an entrance tunnel. We added pyrotechnics. We added a little bit like an entire video to begin the game, an introduction video. So we're trying to give people more and more of what we can depict and have them feel like I'm not just going to a basketball game, I'm going to an event, I'm taking my kids, getting my kids excited for basketball, trying to advocate for parents to give their kids something to do, and hopefully that a couple of the kids get excited for basketball and learn and understand why basketball is such a great discipline for people.
I think it's great that you guys are improving the experience for the audience, because I think if you don't feel that it's a nice setting for you to go out and watch the game, then why would you go out, no?
Yes.
But earlier you mentioned too that you're trying to ensure that you have a strong team to ensure that people come out, because if you're not winning, people aren't coming out. But depending on the success of trying to fill the seats, which would then bring more revenues to the sport. Considering that, how would the Defenders' strategy leverage fan attendance to attract other sources of income?
Okay, so like we speak about the screens. So that's a new experience in Belize. We haven't seen that in Belize yet. At least not the size of screens that we put in. And so to add revenue on top of people, I mean, one, your friends are talking about the game, it's such a good experience, you're able to see replays on the screen. On top of that, we are able to use those screens as media coverage or signage for advertising for different companies. So yes, it's geared for our sponsors. Our sponsors automatically, by sponsoring the Belize City Defenders, your logo, your ads are playing on the screen. But I've had people calling us, say, yo, how can we get our ads on that screen as well? So that's an incentive that we use to bring in more people to the table to sponsor the Defenders, which more sponsorship for the Defenders means more success for us.
Have you guys even considered, or have you also considered merchandise sales and the sale of paraphernalia as another way to capitalize from your marketing? So
the league recently merged as one league. When you say one league, it means that all teams try to advocate for better prices for everything. So we recently merged with paraphernalia and apparel company. They provide all the jerseys for all the teams. In return, the teams market, the teams sell the jerseys, replica jerseys, which is a new thing in Belize. It recently started, and it's like a phase one of the model. So phase one is seeing how well people respond to wanting to buy the replica jerseys, seeing how well fans want to get the team merchandise for the teams. They have a number of merchandise. They have bags, they have towels, they have rags, they have jerseys, they have socks. I mean, you name it, they have it.
Okay. Besides the team's performance, trying to ensure that the team plays well and wins the games, is there a revenue target that you have in mind to ensure, or do you have a revenue target that would say, okay, this is a successful season that we've had?
Thankfully, for the beginning of the season, we've seen an increase go for the past. We've only done 2 home games since. And both, the first one did have a great crowd. The second one had a better crowd. We're hoping for it to continuously go. Right? To say a target, it's hard to put a number on it, but the target is basically to have fans looking forward for the years to come. It's basically to say, when we know we host a game, instead of getting 1,000 people, we are able to house 3,000-4,000 people. That's would say my personal target market.
Okay. There has been a reorganization within the league to ensure that there's more of a long-term sustainability. Has any mechanism been established to create a value distribution back to the players and the communities or the districts that they represent?
So for the players, we're in phase one of the module, and we recently launched the jerseys, the replica jerseys. The replica jerseys are for sale for this respective, either you could get it for a team player, you could get it in your own name, you can get it in just a regular team jersey. So we're doing testing to see how well the market responds to that. And I would think phase 2 coming in this season, going into next season, would be how can we get the players some incentive to help market these jerseys as well. Because right now, if you're not a sole fan of that person, you're only going to the game to see it, and you might become a fan. I want to purchase that jersey. What if my players is actually saying, yo, buy my jersey, advertise for the people to buy their jerseys? It makes for a better product for the league, for the player itself, for everybody in the arena. For districts, that's kind of hard to say. I would say that the league helps every district financially in its own way. When there's a basketball game, the hairdressers make money, the barbers make money, the taxis make money, the food vendors make money, the clubs make money. Everybody finds a way to make some kind of money. So we are already giving back to that respective city, town, wherever they're playing.
So it's like when they host a game within that respective district or town, you're basically boosting the economy there.
Exactly.
Because everybody going to the after party.
Exactly. Everybody's going to get their hair done.
The vendors are going to come out there.
People want new clothes. Vendors are selling food. And also, it in its own way, it boosts the economy.
So we're almost out of time, but I have one last question, and it's regarding if there's been any kind of conversation on trying to improve or trying to build some infrastructure outside of Belize City or outside of the Belize Civic Center, because I know this was a point of discourse following the announcement of significant costs associated with hosting the games at the Civic Center.
Yes, each owner of our team, and we're currently seeking other owners, has to come with some plan. They just can't come to a table and say, this is me, I want to represent this district and I plan to make money. they have to come with a plan. So I know currently San Pedro is playing out of Belize City because they're creating a venue for San Pedro to be constructed and to be finished by, I think it's sometime later in this year.
Okay.
Right? I know San Ignacio is in talks with I think it's probably the BTB looking to purchase a court for them, a wooden court for them. So firsthand, I wouldn't have direct knowledge of it, but with hearing through the grapevines that yes, this is happening, this is the plan. So I can't answer it to say wholeheartedly, I'm sure it's happening, but I've heard it that these are happening. So that's
so definitely things are upon the grapevine, things are in the works.
In the works for them, for people, different districts.
Thanks, Mr. Marsden, for the interview. I wish the most success for your team, the Belize City Defenders, and I hope you guys have a great season for the rest of the 6 months, 5 months that's left, right?
5 months left,
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for today's show. Rafia Flowers will be sitting in for me next week, but remember to join us weekly on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. for another episode of Legacy Markets. For now, we want to say good night and remember, together we create a legacy of a better world. Bye!